You better run when the runners run. Welcome to the Runners Live. This is Michael Tharp. EDU, it starts with you. It is Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. First of all, I want to give a super happy birthday to my mother. I think she turns 50 today, so happy birthday, Mom. I love you. As always, I'm running with the man, the myth, the legend, my good brother, Ricardo Hamilton, a.k.a. Crypto Rick. What's going down?
And constantly, continuously, consistently building wealth in precious metal assets and crypto. Happy birthday, Mom Dukes. Okay, from the runners.
It's all about those 3 C's, Ricardo. We talk so much about mindset, constantly, continuously, always pushing to help more people, to help secure our wealth for our future generations. Yeah. So welcome onto the stream, everyone. We have a great show today where we're just going to show how, what we have been talking about is finally hitting the masses. What we've been telling people for 5, 6, 7 years is finally starting to wake people up with everything that's going on in the economy. So I want to get into this video as quickly as possible. But before we do that, of course, we just kind of want to look at where the economy is at. And first of all, guys, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who has joined the Runners app. Okay, we are seeing tremendous growth. We're up to almost 2,400 users now, 1,400 app installs, 28 new users this week. And I got to give Ricardo Hamilton a lot of that credit. He's hitting it hard on TikTok. So he's going live almost every day around noon. Actually, he just goes live whenever, Ricardo. So again, down in the link, wherever you're watching this video, you can find where our TikToks are. He's dropping mad knowledge there on the daily. So again, thank you to everyone who has joined the app. If you guys don't have the app, it's absolutely free. You can find those links down below, wherever you're watching this, YouTube or Facebook. And again, guys, here it is, the infinite market cap. Where is the wealth in the entire world? As always, the number one asset in the entire world is gold. At 11.5 trillion market cap, the price is $18.20. It's pretty much holding steady this entire week. Oil is up to number 2, Apple at 3, Microsoft at 4, Google at 5, silver at 6, only 1.16 trillion, below $21, Ricardo. Is this really happening? Unbelievable. So $20.75 for the paper price, the fake paper price of silver. That's completely rigged and manipulated. And again, guys, don't worry about when silver is going to go up. That's not the point. Just thank God every day that we can buy silver for this cheap. Back up the truck. The time is now. Bitcoin has fallen to number 18. And it looks like the market went down today again. The market now is down to 900 billion. So we're well below $1 trillion market cap now. Bitcoin just a little over 20,000. And as we told you guys months ago, okay, we knew the crypto market was going to go down. We told our community. And, I think until probably September, October, we're not buying any massive amounts of crypto. We're still dollar cost averaging. And we show you how to do that in the app. Ricardo, anything you want to add just about, the market caps, how crazy it is that, all these prices are going up. And this is what, the video we watched on our training today talked about. All these prices of everything's going up. Gas, food, rent, cars. But yet gold and silver are still just basically doing this. So Ricardo, what's your take on that?
Yeah, you don't find that suspicious?
Just a little.
You don't find that suspicious. I mean, you don't find that suspicious that they printed over 60% of all currency within the last 2 years, where we have a global economic slowdown. They literally shut down the global economy, and everything has hit its all-time high. Real estate, crypto and stock market, and yet gold and silver, like you said, Mike, just hasn't moved. You don't find that suspicious that they're printing trillions of dollars, adding digits to the screen, creating more debt. And the real assets, real money, gold and silver, doesn't go anywhere. It's not by accident, folks. It's designed. It's designed to keep you away from it. It's designed to make it less sexy, less attractive. So you say, I don't want no gold and silver because you look at it as an investment and not what it should be looked at as a hedge against financial crisis and inflation and a way to preserve your wealth, similar to insurance, right? So the only thing I would add, Mike, is, don't get caught up in the day-to-day price of assets or the sentiments in the market. This is temporary. Everything that we're seeing in the markets right now is temporary. The only thing constant is change. Okay, so stay grounded, know what is of value, and continue to acquire it. That's it.
No, I like what you said there, Ricardo, is don't get caught up in the day-to-day. This is what we're talking about, the 3 C's, okay? Just have a game plan and do it consistently and just keep going. Liz Frank on. Again, before we get into the video, if you guys are watching this, you know, in the comments on YouTube or Facebook, give us the hashtag silver4freedom, okay? Silver, the number 4, freedom, wherever you guys are watching. Like this video, share it out, okay? You guys know we're censored and banned. The big corporations, the rich, wealthy, and elite do not want people to know this information, even though this is exactly what they're doing. So we have got to break the algorithms to get this message out to more people because people need help now more than ever. So if you guys don't know or haven't heard, Fresh and Fit Podcast is one of the biggest podcasts in the world. Huge on YouTube. They do talk a lot about relationships and have girls on, but they also talk a lot about finances and men's health. And when I saw that Robert Kiyosaki was on the Fresh and Fit Podcast, I was like, I'm watching this. I would highly recommend you watch the whole video. They go into a lot of amazing things, but when they started talking about gold and silver, I was like, wow, like this is, you'll kind of see, you know, it's like what Ricardo and I have been saying forever, and just like the first basic lesson of gold and silver, right? But the fact that you have these guys that are younger, that are, you know, they're talking to people that are more into like partying and stuff, not necessarily financial, you know, people looking for financial advice. And the fact that they're mentioning gold and silver now tells you something, that it's going to turn back. Like we talked about, right, Ricardo, like everything works in a cycle. So people back in the Great Depression, that was their only way out, was to get gold and silver. And then we know we got all the stocks and we got into crypto. And now it's like people don't even know, you know, when it comes to gold and silver. So Ricardo, before we watch the video, anything you want to add when it comes to just silver for freedom and how we see gold and silver almost going mainstream now because of this economic turmoil and crisis that we're in?
Yeah, no, I'll have something to add after the video, man. Let's show the people the value.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's
all right.
If I could add to that,
yeah, please,
is global transactions between countries outside of the United States, about 60 to 70% of them are settled in dollars,
yep.
especially with commodities.
Yeah.
Right. So the United States is in a very unique position when they can actually print the currency they need to buy the food, to buy the energy, if it comes down to that, where other countries have to earn dollars to take those dollars and then buy the stuff they need. So that gives us a huge advantage.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I say is,
and before Robert speaks, I just wanted you guys to understand there that he's just saying, again, we're not trashing the dollar. We're not saying you don't need dollars. They're not going to be usable. We're not like, we don't think there's going to be some dollar apocalypse, because yes, will fiat currency go down over time? Of course, we all know that. But the United States is in the best position of any country in the world because of what he just said. Because most of the stuff bought in the world, especially commodities, are bought with the dollar. So the United States has a reserve currency status that might be deteriorating, but yet they still have it.
And the guy that was speaking is George Gammon, by the way. You guys need to follow him, especially if you follow Robert Kiyosaki, who was just speaking with George Gammon on YouTube. Phenomenal YouTube channel, valuable, priceless information. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, just so you guys understand, these are 3 of like the top financial minds in the entire world. So I just want you to match with what we have been saying for 2 to 3 years versus what they're saying now on this, you know, huge podcast, especially with millennials.
Is this, you know, all coins have 3 sides, heads, tails. Prepare for the worst. So if we go into a depression, how will you do? So long time ago, in Vietnam, I saw the North Vietnamese army kicking our asses, and I started preparing for the worst. So if the economy crashes, my question to all of you, how will you do?
Yeah.
Kenny and we'll get richer. That's why I have gold, I have silver, I have some Bitcoin, I have some Ethereum.
Yeah.
I have a business. I'm studying constantly. And this. So if it crashes, like the last time it crashed in 2008, Kenny and I went back in.
Yep.
We just waited a couple of years and we got richer. So the question is, let's say the worst happens, will you get richer or poor? And if you're going to get poor, I start making plans now to change something.
So I want to stop there first and understand, guys, like I'm so thankful for Robert Kiyosaki and everything he has taught me. If I had not started following him and doing what he said decades ago, I don't know where I would be right now. Definitely not where I'm at. And so when Rich Dad speaks, I listen. So what did Rich Dad just say he owned? He owned gold, silver, Bitcoin, some Ethereum, real estate, and businesses. So I just want to double down here, Ricardo, of what we have been talking about for 2 to 5 years at least, right? Is gold, silver, crypto. We even, in our app, you can buy real estate on the blockchain and get paid dividends from the income. And then a business. We talk about this all the time with cash flow. So Ricardo, just, your take on, again, we're doing what the top experts are doing and we're helping our team do this and win.
Yeah, I mean, you heard it, folks. What he was talking about was not how to get rich per se. He was talking about how are you preparing against financial crisis and inflation. And he mentioned the war. And right now there's a lot of rumors of war and there's war going on. And, when it comes down to it, like he mentioned, are you in position to get wealthier? Or are you in position to get poorer? And, one of the ways that Robert Kiyosaki, and we talk about the way to build wealth is having real assets, gold, silver. He said he has some Bitcoin, he has some Ethereum. And so, all we do is talk about gold, silver, and cryptocurrency and constantly, continuously, consistently acquiring these assets. So it's spot on, Mike. It's what we have known for years, and it's what great financial minds like who on the podcast right now have been speaking about.
All right, let's see what Rich Dad's going to say here.
That's all I want to say because, I bought gold. My first gold coin was about $50. I still have it today. And price of gold is dropping. I said, let's say it's $50 today. I mean, when I bought it, it's $1,800 today.
Wow.
Do you understand? But I think longer term.
Yeah, of course.
And I own gold mines. I own Japanese breeding bulls. I own oil.
Yep.
They can't print oil. So everything the Fed does, I don't do.
Yeah.
Can you survive in the worst? That's the question.
I think to dovetail on what Robert was just saying, it would be wise to stress test your portfolio, even if it's 10,000, 25,000, 250,000, against the 1970s, against the 1940s, and against the 1930s. So just as an example, let's say you've got just a broad S&P fund or something like that. Well, look at what the S&P did during the 1970s. Okay. What did it do during the 1930s? Because you've got two deleveraging periods there. One was a deflationary deleveraging, and the 1970s was an inflationary deleveraging.
Yeah.
So if you look at your stock portfolio, and if it did very poorly in the 1970s, right, the S&P 500, then if you believe that the probability is most high, get an inflationary decade in the 2020s, well, you got to adjust your portfolio, right? And ideally, your portfolio, to what Robert was saying, would do well regardless of whether we went through a 1970s type of period or a 1930s type of period.
Yeah.
That's really the key. If your viewers and listeners can say, okay, what my portfolio would have at least not lost money, right? Gained purchasing power during the 1970s and the 1930s, then you're on to something right there. Another thing I wanted to point out, just an interesting story, is I spend a lot of time in Medellin, Colombia. Now, Colombia right now, the peso is about 4,000.
So before he gets into this story, Ricardo, what he said there was very powerful. So in the 1930s and 40s, we had like a deflationary period where the economy went down. In the 1970s, we had an inflationary period. I think we're living through an inflationary period that's going to be similar to what the 70s did. where we had what's called stagflation, where the economy is not going up, prices are going, but the inflation's going up, but the economy isn't, and jobs and such. So what did well in the late 70s, early 80s? Gold and silver. Silver actually had its peak in 1981. And in 1981, they had to raise the interest rates all the way to 20% to try to suck out all the money in the economy they had busted in with welfare and the Vietnam War. And the last thing that Kiyosaki said, Rich Dad, is I don't buy things the Fed can print. So this is why we talk about all the time, don't save your dollars. I mean, you need cash flow. You obviously need some cash, but that should not be your main way of saving and preserving your wealth. So your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, when you heard Robert Kiyosaki, he said I bought gold at, when it was $50 an ounce. Now it's $2,000. You have to look at your assets over a historical time period. Some people, I was on a live stream today talking to a financial advisor. He had Series 6 and everything else. And he kept trying to compare gold as inflationary or what the S&P did within the last year. And I had to correct him. I said, you're narrow-minded in your scope. You have to look at these assets over time, have a historical view. And then it's like, is gold really down if you got it at $50 an ounce? Is Bitcoin really down at 20,000 if you got in when it was 3,500? You see, it's all about that historical perspective. And sometimes, as we say, it's not about, trying to time the market as opposed to when to get in and when to get out, but it's more about just being in the market. It's time in the market. Right. And then, one thing that George Gammon was referencing, he'd say compare, but one thing people need to understand is that we are in worse times than ever. We're in uncharted territory. They have no idea what they're doing, and the problems are magnitudes worse. There's more debt, there's more crisis, there's more global instability. So when you're comparing to those times, there were dynamics and forces that were at play that are not, that are at play now that were not at play then. That takes this thing to a whole nother level, and should increase people's reality of why they need to start getting as much physical gold and silver, and diversifying and investing in the crypto as they can.
No, 100% agree. Yeah. All right, let's see here. So George is getting ready to tell a story. I love this story, so pay attention. He's talking about a gold dealer he met from Colombia who was telling him this story about what happened to their currency.
And to $1.
Holy shit.
And just
4,000 Colombian pesos is equal to $1 US.
$1.
Wow.
Right. So 5 pesos is basically worthless. I mean, it's not even a penny. And so I was talking to a good friend of ours named Dana Samuelson the other day, who's a gold dealer. I was talking to him just randomly about gold coins. He said, actually, I've got some Colombian gold coins that are 5 peso. I guess they had these back in the late 1800s. So, and they were 1/4 ounce of gold.
Oh.
So now let's think about this. Okay, gold right now is trading at
18,000.
Yeah, 1,800, something like that. Let's just say it's 2,000, right?
1,800 per ounce.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's just say it's 2,000 to make the math easy.
Yeah.
Okay. That 5 peso coin is now worth $500.
Oh wow.
But in fiat currency terms, it isn't even worth a penny.
Yeah.
This is why everyone should own hard assets, and this is why everyone should own gold, in my opinion.
Perfect fucking example. Wow. Holy shit, man.
All right. So right there, guys, again, you don't have to take our word for it. You can look at one of the top financial advisors in the world, okay? He just told a story there. 5 pesos today is less than a penny. But because that gold coin was made with real gold, it is now worth $500. So less than a penny to $500 just because it has real money in it. And notice what he said there, Ricardo, is everyone should have hard assets in their own possessions. Again, what we speak about all the time, we're just bringing in third parties to verify this is what the rich and wealthy are doing, guys. So, Ricardo, your take on George Gammon's saying what we say all the time.
Well, what they're trying to do, folks, is prepare you and open up your mind to the inevitability of the collapse of the dollar. And giving you scenarios of what happens in other countries when you have a fiat currency crisis. And a lot of the dynamics that we have today, where you have Russia and China and other countries now dumping dollars, buying, dumping bonds and making bilateral trade agreements, buying more gold and silver than ever, looking at blockchain. These are some of the major headwinds that is putting the situation that we have here in the U.S. To look like some of the other countries that have collapsed with their currency. And so he's saying that, look, everybody needs to have some physical gold and silver to hedge against financial crisis and inflation, because the currency can literally, its intrinsic value is nothing. It's worthless. But if you have gold, you have something of value. And that value you can use and leverage to sustain your standard of living or help you out during those tough, trying financial times. So everybody should have physical gold and silver. It's awesome. I definitely want to watch the whole podcast.
So this interesting. We're going to disagree with him here in a minute, but let's see what he has to say.
Okay.
And just so the people kind of understand, you said 4,000 Colombian pesos, about $1. Well, 4,000 Colombian pesos, what can you purchase in Colombia?
For $1?
Yeah, for $1. Just so people kind of get a perspective.
A bottle of water.
A bottle of water.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's it called? Aguardiente?
Aguardiente.
Yeah.
Versus in the U.S. is going to cost you what? $3 to get a bottle of water, $2.50, $2 at least, $1.49 and the cheapest.
Yeah, but the point is you can't even buy 10% of a banana for 5 pesos.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
zero. But yet that gold coin, if you look at the gold value of it, it's $500 US.
So Ricardo, I did not notice this the first time I watched this, but there's a comment on here. This guy, again, this guy paid $160 to have this comment on this channel. I'm crazy, right? But anyways, this guy, Michael Mualo, commenting on their podcast says, I often hear buying gold and silver as a hedge for financial collapse inflation. Should it happen and gold went to 10K, how would you actually use it? Would you sell your gold into dollars? Ricardo, do we have a solution for that? Because again, I'm manifesting here, Ricardo. You and I will be on the Fresh and Fit podcast at one point. That will happen. I already know it. But again, we can then tell them and answer these questions about how might people do that, Ricardo?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you're alluding to 7K Metals Sound Money wallet and being able to spend your gold and silver right there on a credit card. People will wonder about the liquidity and how do you buy goods and services with gold and silver. Most people don't know that there are about 12 states in the United States right now where gold and silver is legal tender. You can pay for goods and services with gold and silver. So you don't even have to sell the gold back into silver. Or the gold back into dollars, right? And then also, with what we have with the Sound Money wallet, you can swipe your credit card and it's going to ask you, do you want to spend from your gold or silver or cash balance? So a lot of the challenges or, questions that people have about gold and silver, they don't realize how advanced technology has become today with blockchain and then with companies like 7K and what they've done with the Sound Money wallet. So there are a lot of real viable solutions that eliminate a lot of the objections or concerns that people have when realizing how do we utilize gold and silver in the economy to be able to maintain and do trade and commerce.
Right. And that's where I think a lot of ordinary people just don't get into gold and silver because they're overwhelmed. They don't know what to buy. They don't know who to trust. Where can they store it? How can I sell it? How can I transfer it? And again, this is why a 7K membership is invaluable to help the average ordinary person do what the rich and wealthy are doing and even maybe, get paid to do it, which is why they're next level. All right, let's go on here.
And then that happened in the U.S. too. Remember the quarter with the silver in it?
Yeah.
So,
was it prior to 1965?
Yeah. So if that quarter with the silver in it is actually, he held up a $2 bill and a quarter, and the quarter was worth more than the $2 bill.
Yeah.
And that's U.S. money.
Because of the silver in it.
Yeah, because of the silver in it. So
That's
And we talk about that all the time, guys, about any coins pre-65 have 90% silver in them. So a quarter is almost worth $5 at this point.
So one of the best examples I've heard of why holding on to precious metals is worth more than fiat currency.
Now you guys know.
Now you guys know. So,
Yeah, when you're
So again, this is no disrespect to Fresh and Fit, and I get they're talking to, a younger generation. But again, they're just like, now you guys know, And so this is going out to, I think they have over 500,000 subscribers, and who knows what they have on Spotify and other podcast things. But Ricardo, I'm just excited that this is getting mainstream adoption and people are able to start to get real assets in their own possession, which if you've been running with the runners, we get paid to do this. I mean, I think that's what would blow their mind even more is Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, talks all the time about having a business with cash flow. We have multiple businesses that we do, and this is why people running with us are winning every day.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a call to action. It's like, some things are called intellectual masturbation. You know what I mean? So you intellectually, you comprehend something, but you haven't done anything with it. It hasn't produced anything with it. Knowledge is only good if you apply it, and so it's great that, they're making people aware of something. But once again, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Where to get it, how to get it, what quantity, what grade, all those questions that, where we provide this value and we show people, we're going to show you how to get the physical gold and silver, how you can store it, whether it's a private vault or, you're taking delivery of it. Excuse me. And of course, how to get paid. You got to create cash flow. Cash flow is king. Okay. So if you're worried about inflation, you're worried about financial crisis, one of the major things that you want to have is multiple streams of income. You want to have cash flow in addition to those assets, because if all you have is assets, it's just a matter of time before you liquidate them because you still need to live. So no, that's one thing that makes us unique. We're doing something that most people just not doing, but we're providing the answer and the solution at the same time.
Don't worry, they're going to get into that.
Oh, okay.
Bottom line there is, if you're saving money right now, make sure that you're saving stuff that the Fed can't print.
Bam. So I got a question for you.
So that's just a quick double down again. If you're saving money right now, make sure you're saving something the Fed can't print. That's the takeaway from tonight's
George, because last time we had a discussion, we actually went over this portfolio that when you're saying like, hey, you need a portfolio that could withstand, it's volatile times like in the 40s, 70s, etc. And we outlined that portfolio kind of like from a percentage standpoint. Can you tell the people what that was for people that are new and may not know?
Yeah, sure. I think it's very easy whether you've got 2,500 to invest or 25 million. I just set my portfolio up, or at least I try, in a 10-80-10 split. So 10% would be insurance. For me, that's physical gold. Why? For the reasons we
not
just
even
talked
silver,
about.
just straight,
just physical gold.
Okay.
And then 80% of that.
So I want to stop there, Ricardo. And so he's doing a 10-80-10 split here. And he's saying he's going to put 10% of whatever he's investing into gold and just gold. And so, again, nothing against George, right? He has all the money in the world. He doesn't really need to worry about anything. So very more traditional institutional investors go for gold, as we know. But what you might call the common man's money is silver, and Kiyosaki is much bigger into silver than George is. And I think the bigger play is with silver. I mean, I think you should have both, but that's one point where I would disagree with him is I'm much more into silver than I am into gold, because silver's at this point like a third of its all-time high. Gold is near its all-time high. There's way more uses for silver. Silver is way more affordable. And I think there's a lot more gold than we think in the world. As we just found out in Africa, they found, some 11 trillion tons of gold just the other day. So anything you want to add when it just comes to people and their gold, silver, diversification?
Yeah, what I would say is that, you want to have obviously both. He did mention that it determines, if you're spending 2,500 or 25 million. So, gold is able to store more value in a smaller amount. Obviously you get a lot of silver. It depends on what you're looking for, but I think that obviously we know that silver is the most undervalued asset. It's going to appreciate greater in percentage gains. But I would agree with you, Mike, that I definitely hold more silver than I hold gold. But I definitely holding both. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where he's just so rich, it doesn't really matter. He just wants, silver is going to take up a lot more space than gold because you need to have more of it, with whatever you're going to invest. But
I think he's just going for gold. Yeah.
To me, it's not even close. Like I think gold and silver are going to be 1-to-1.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
That portfolio is what I would consider an investment. Now, I define that as something that pays me to own it.
Bam.
So like the cash flowing properties that Kenny deals with and Robert, that is something that pays you to own it. That would be an investment. A dividend paying stock, that's an investment in my mind because it pays you to own it.
Yeah.
Then the other 10% of your portfolio would be speculative assets where you're buying them cheap. You're buying them when there's panic. And so maybe that could be Bitcoin when it's at 1,700 and unfortunately people are, let's say, depressed, to put it mildly. What is it? Permanent solutions to temporary problems, as Rich Cooper says.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a bit of panic there. And I think that Bitcoin is a great example of something that would be in that speculative side of the portfolio because you may believe there's good asymmetry, but it doesn't pay you to own it. Another thing I really like right now is uranium.
Yeah.
I really like uranium. Again, I'm not telling anyone to buy it, but it's definitely strong on my watch list. So
Bitcoin, maybe a stock that doesn't pay you a dividend you're just holding on to.
Yeah, maybe a gold miner.
Okay.
I think that would be something that I would consider a speculative asset. Yeah. So what you're doing there, and that's outside of your cash position.
Yeah.
Because your cash position is going to fluctuate based on your income and what you think the probabilities are that we have a recession, how much dry powder you want to have.
Okay.
But so what that's doing is that gold position is offsetting the cash, right? You're going to have a negative carry on cash because of inflation.
Yeah.
So that gold is kind of going to offset that over the long term, but also that cash flow that's coming in from that 80% is going to give you the purchasing power that you're most likely losing due to inflation with that cash position you're holding as dry powder to take advantage of those asset prices coming down.
Bam.
And it puts you in a position where you're never, ever, ever a motivated seller. So whether you're in real estate, whether you're in stocks, whatever it is, you never, ever want to put yourself into a position where you are a motivated seller. Never. And if you've got that cash flow coming in, like Kenny, that never has to sell.
Yeah.
Never. So he can just pretty much wait and name his price. If he ever wanted to sell, he can just sit back. Where a lot of his competitors, because they use too much leverage and they do all they base their number on pro forma numbers,
flipping shit all over the place.
Yeah, they could get into a position where they don't have that cash flow to cover their nut, so they have to sell.
Yeah.
And so they pretty much the buyer can name their price. And that's where Kenny makes all the money on the buy side. He's buying from motivated sellers. So you never want to put yourself in that position.
So just a quick little recap for the people, because I think that's very important. 10% in gold.
For me,
insurance. Or something, basically your insurance policy, but an example of that would be gold.
Yep.
Another 10% in speculative assets that don't necessarily pay you to hold them.
Yep.
Your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, etc. Stocks that you're buying and holding, then 80% into something that pays you a dividend, whether that's real estate or a stock, and or even maybe hedging your cryptocurrency that pays you some kind of dividend to have it.
Would that include a business too? If I put
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
May I add this whole thing? The word is cash flow, because that's why I created the board game Cash Flow.
So because Robert's going to make a lot of points here, I know we're going to want to talk to and respond to. So what I took away there from Ricardo is you need a business for sure, right? You need to get into real estate, but most people watching this probably can't do that right now. So this is why in our app, we show you how to buy real estate starting at $50. You can literally own on the blockchain a real physical house in the real world and get paid dividends on it every month. And of course, we already have gold and silver covered. We have crypto covered, and we have our businesses covered. So other than, and we're going to talk about this down the road, other than maybe dividend paying stocks, the Runners app has everything George Gammon just talked about.
Yep. And I mean, folks, you got to have cash flow. I mentioned it earlier, and that's what they're getting into. That's the most important thing that you can have. One of the most important things. I mean, you got to have your savings, which is in gold and silver. You got to have your cash flow. Okay, you got to have your emergency fund, which is in cash. You got to have your investments, which we recommend cryptocurrency, but you got to have cash flow. And if you have one stream of income, you're a disaster waiting to happen. If you have 2 streams of income, you need 3. If you have 3, you need 4. Okay. And so why not have a home-based business? Why not have an additional stream of income where it's not earned income, where you're trading your time in for dollars, but we're creating a passive residual income, and your product, and is dealing with money, is dealing with gold and silver. You're getting paid to save in it and help other people save in it, and find yourself at times getting free gold and silver. It's a win-win strategy. You can't lose, and it's a phenomenal way to secure your wealth, create cash flow, and hedge against these times that we're in financially.
And again, guys, I still can't believe this, Ricardo. We have, for cheaper than the price of Netflix, we got a home-based business where we're helping people get the #1 asset in the world and the #6 asset in the world, and rare pieces of artwork created by Michael Miles Standish. I mean, how is this possible? And how does everyone not see that this is the greatest thing ever? It's still beyond me.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, most people are over leveraged. They're in very risky positions, okay, and they're speculating. And these markets are very volatile. There's a global financial shift taking place, and you can't really afford to just be in speculative financial instruments or even crypto. You have to have some solid foundation to where you're hedging. You have to have that position. So in the event that it does all go south, and the worst case scenario that we can imagine happens, liquidity crunch, credit freeze, banks ain't opening up, the dollar's gone, whatever have you, that you do have something of value, that you do have real money, that you do have gold and silver. It's critical.
That's what it's about.
But I saw this one guy says, I'm pumping gold because I own a gold mine. I've also lost a gold mine. I started a gold mine in China, and when I struck gold, the Chinese took it. So I now know country risk. But until they took this gold mine from Dalian, China, I didn't know that. But the experience made me smarter. So I just bought another gold mine in Utah, the richest gold mine in the world, 382 ounces per ton. My gold mine in China was only throwing 20 ounces per ton of gold.
Wow.
Now the question is, how do I afford a gold mine? The money came from Kenny.
Bam. I'm about to buy some gold after this.
No, but if you understand what we're doing here, it's hard to see, but we're completely supporting each other to keep acquiring more and more. So because Kenny gave me the money to buy the mine, I give him 10% of the mine.
To reinvest back in real estate to grow it exponentially.
Bam.
But no, please hear me, guys. The asset throws off cash. If it's not throwing off cash, it's not an asset.
Yeah.
Absolute, phenomenal wisdom right there from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. If it's not throwing off cash, it's not an asset. An asset puts cash into your pocket. A liability takes it out. Now, some might say, well, how does holding gold and silver put cash in your pocket? Well, they're devaluing the dollar all the time. So over time, that gold and silver is putting cash in your pocket. And the best part, of course, Ricardo, is zero counterparty risk. That's one of the best things that people don't even really understand when it comes to gold and silver. So your take on that video or anything that you want to add right now, and I'm going to pull up and buy some more gold.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean, folks, like Mike said, people are starting to listen. They're starting to tap into the frequency that they have to do something different. They're starting to realize that, hey, the inflation is real. The dollar's not buying me as much. I was in crypto. Crypto is down. So they're understanding that those are speculative, risky investments. Okay. And gold and silver are tier 1 assets. Gold and silver will never go to zero. Okay. The Bank of International Settlements has labeled gold and silver zero risk, tier 1 assets. Okay. So when it comes to, a total collapse situation or the dollar just continue to lose value, gold and silver will always hold value and have value. And so that's what, Robert Kiyosaki, George Gammon, and those of the Ray Dalios of the world, they're trying to wake up as many people as possible, because most people have no assets. Most people have no cash flow. most people trade their time in for dollars. Most people just save cash. And we're trying to let people know that, there's a better way to do it. There's a more strategic way to do it. There's a more beneficial way to do it. And we have some of the best companies that we are doing it with. And we are literally free today because of it. And we want to help you do the same thing. Okay. So it's very important that you save your money in gold and silver because the dollar doesn't save, in addition to investing in blockchain and cryptocurrency.
So that reminds me, Ricardo, again, constantly, continuously, consistently. Okay. Right. So every live stream, I'm just buying a little bit of gold, documenting this journey. Okay. Because, half the people watching Fresh and Fit probably said, oh, okay, I'm going to buy some gold. And then they go and try to buy it. And they're like, $1,800. I don't have $1,800. How am I going to buy gold? This is why we love 7K, because it makes the average ordinary person able to get in and start buying precious metals. So again, if you guys ever have been following us, I used to have like $100 of gold in my Sound Money wallet I bought for some random reason at some time. But right now, every live stream, I'm buying $50, $100 worth of gold. Where did that money come from? I just got more cash like in the last hour in my Sound Money wallet. I don't know. Maybe I sold something on Stack and Sell. I don't know.
Probably. But
I'm just going to go to transfer. I just checked this and it wasn't there. Hold on.
Code. It's in the coin job code though. But yeah, folks.
Code.
Yeah, security code. But I mean, so folks, this is one of the things that, we talk about where people have no idea how far the gold and silver industry has came and how you can acquire it, what ways you can acquire it, how you can spend it, how you can store it, how it can be transferred and used. Things have evolved. And one of the major things that evolved in this space is something called the Sound Money wallet. That's from 7K Metals. To be able to buy gold, any amount, dollar amount or silver, convert it back to cash or, back into the other metal, or be able to swipe from a credit card and it's going to ask you to spend from your gold or silver balance is revolutionary. It's phenomenal.
So right now, Ricardo, just so people understand that are new, I'm taking $50 cash and buying $50 of gold. I'm going to get 0.023639 ounces of gold to my Sound Money. And I can have, once I get up to an ounce of gold or silver, I can have this physically delivered for me, or I can keep it in a private vault I get with my membership that has 4 grades of security, military grade security, and insurance on it. So it's just a complete win-win, and allowing people get into, the gold and silver market incrementally. I mean, you could literally buy $5 of gold once a week. You buy your coffee, you buy your Netflix, you buy your Spotify, you go out and buy a pizza, you go out for dinner and drinks, but you're not consistently building wealth. That's what these systems of leverage allow the average people to do very easily on your phone, on the go, on a computer, whenever you want it. So Ricardo, I think that's it. Gold and silver is going mainstream. Fresh and Fit are covering it. Robert Kiyosaki, George Gammon, completely matching up with what we've been saying for years. Your last, take on how important it is for people to act right now.
Yeah, look, folks, enjoy the weather. Okay, enjoy your family. Enjoy the times that we have now, because obviously it has a really real potential of getting worse. Okay, and understand that now we're in the summer months. Okay, and then we'll be in the fall months and the winter months. The only thing constant is change, but the most important thing is what you do right now. What is your mindset right now? Are you acquiring gold and silver? Are you dollar cost averaging in certain assets? That is the key. That is going to determine how your next year is going to look. That is going to determine how your year after is going to look, based on what are you doing now, how are you improving your mindset now, and what are you doing with those dollars while you have them. And so one of the best things that you can do right now is do what Mike has done. Okay, start to preserve some of your money in physical gold and silver. Start a home-based business, okay, where you can create cash flow for yourself, put yourself in a position to reduce your tax exposure, have some legitimate write-offs and deductions, and just have a positive mindset and outlook moving forward, so you can attract all the blessings that is due to come to you amongst all this chaos and volatility. So look, folks, we constantly, continuously, consistently building wealth in precious metal assets and crypto. It's not going to stop. If you didn't come from a wealthy family, this is the opportunity to make sure that a wealthy family comes from you. Ricardo Hamilton, Crypto Rick, the runners, lace up. Let's get wealthy.
One last thing, Ricardo.
Yep.
Thank you, Corinne, for that. And what I would say, guys, if you have, this video, you can share this. Go to Ricardo Hamilton on YouTube or Michael Tharp EDU on YouTube, and you'll find this replay. Send it to somebody who needs to understand this. Maybe they're like, I don't know who Michael Tharp is. You think people know who Ricardo Hamilton is right now, but maybe people still don't. But they should know Fresh and Fit. They should know George Gammon. They should know Robert Kiyosaki. We're saying the exact same things, guys. So if you like what the Runners community is doing, you want to support us, okay, therunners.shop, therunners.shop, we got merch, t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, whatever you want, crypto, gold, silver, iPhone cases, all right, therunners.shop, support us. But we'll be back next week, guys. In the link, in the comments, you got the app, we got our TikTok. If you're like, man, I really want to know more about this, the Runners Facebook group, we post all of this so you can get in the know. Guys, we are running. We're doing this. We're going to keep going. We want to help more people. Our goal is to change the world one family at a time by teaching them to buy assets over liabilities. It really is that simple. So we'll see you guys next week or on TikTok, if not before that. Ricardo, awesome job today.
You too, brother. Lace up. Let's get wealthy.